Hey, what's up guys? So we're here at Wolfbox and Redtiger. Both of the companies here are actually at the same booth. And I kind of want to just run through some of the dash cams that they've got on display here. Now, honestly, I'm not actually a huge fan of a lot of their dash cams. They do a lot of the fake 4K stuff, and there's kind of some like holes and limitations with a lot of their dash cams, but I kind of just want to run through some of the options. There's a bunch of different models that they have here on display, and I actually appreciate the fact that they're talking about some of the image sensors that they're using. So if you look at this, for example, the F7 NT Max, it says that it uses an IMX675, which is a 2K sensor, but they're advertising it as a 4K camera. That's kind of what I mean. They've also got models like the F77. This is a 4K dash cam, so it actually does have good sensors. So Starvis 2, IMX678 in both directions. However, it does have some weaknesses, like if you look, it uses eMMC. So all the videos are actually going to be stored in the dash cam. There's a 128 gig version and a 256. Now, interestingly, there is a slot right here for a micro SD card, but that's really only for like backup and stuff. Everything when you're driving is going to be stored to the eMMC. I asked them about this, and they said there is the ability to write to the memory card while driving, but I haven't seen anything about that online. I think it might have actually been like a language barrier thing, but from everything that I've seen, that is how this one works. Additionally, they'll advertise things like parking recording mode, which is true. But if you use things like collision detection, it's something like 15 seconds or so for the dash cam to wake up and begin recording, which makes it kind of useless in practice. So some of the specs and stuff are really good, but again, there's going to be kind of some weird weaknesses and holes here on the dash cams. Next, let's take a look at the Vision Pano 40, which is one of their newest models. What's special about this is it has these two side-facing cams, like we've seen some from some other brands, and you can point them in different directions to give yourself some side-facing interior coverage out the side windows of the car, and of course inside the car here too. Next, let's take a look at the Wolfbox side, and I want to start here first with their rearview mirror style dash cams. These ones are really popular. I actually have got a G900 Pro that I haven't actually tested yet, but this is one of their popular options here that they have as far as rearview mirror style dash cams. Now, starting off, we've got the G850 Pro. This is the only one that's not actually a 4K dash cam for the front cam, though if you take a look at it, they do advertise it as a 4K model. Now, if you want to step up to real 4K, you can take a look at one of these. For the front cam, they're going to use these Sony Starvis 2 IMX678, good old classic 4K sensor here for the front cam. Now, as far as the different models, it depends on like what the add-on cameras are. So for the G900 Pro, it's going to be your standard 2-channel setup, so front and rear. Then they also have two different 3-channel versions. This is going to be the G900, here I'll just pull up the name real quick, the Tri-Pro Bumper, while the other one is going to be the Tri-Pro Cabin. And it basically has to do with what the third camera is. So they're going to have like your front and rear cams, but you're also for this one going to have a third cabin cam to record inside the car. And we can just kind of like flip through the different camera angles like this, so you can see all the different angles here at once. Now for the other one, this is going to be like your off-roading solution, the Tri-Pro Bumper. So if you want like a second front-facing camera, in addition to the one that's, what side is it on? Right here, behind the rearview mirror, this one can go like in the bumper area. So if you need to see over boulders or there's some big potholes or something, you can actually get a much better view of what's ahead of the car, like over the hood of the vehicle. So that's what this one is for. Now, interestingly, if you take a look, this one is the G900 Pro V2, and that one is basically because they changed the image sensor here on the rear. Now, the first version of the sensor here actually used the Sony Starvis IMX678, but later on they decided to switch over to an OmniVision sensor, which they said actually does a better job with low light sensitivity, and that's the same rear sensor that's used in these other models here. Now, when I was at the Laser Jammer test meet in Tennessee, I was with Randy at one point, and he's got this one installed here. He had it set up front and rear, and we noticed that with the rear cam, it really struggled when things were dark. Like if there were some street lights, it actually did a pretty decent job. But when things started to get darker, you're on more like rural back roads, you really just can't see what's back behind you, which is something that's critical for a rear view mirror. And again, that was with the OmniVision sensor, which is what's used in here, and now also in this one for the Tri-Pro V2, or sorry, I guess the regular G900 Pro V2. And so that's kind of, I've been looking at a lot of these rearview mirror style dash cams. I know they're really popular. A lot of people like them. I personally don't want to cover up my like factory rearview mirror with like home link and the garage door opener and stuff. But I know they're really popular, and I've been looking for stuff that has a really good front sensor, but I've been finding some weaknesses now with the rear sensors. They're usually going to advertise like the Starvis 2 and stuff, so if you take a look, you'll see it right there. But the rear sensor, I think, is like extra critical here on these rearview mirror style dash cams. Now, another one to talk about here is going to be the X3 Pro. Now, this dash cam hasn't launched yet, but you can also think of this as like an off-road dash cam, specifically because of the fact that if you take a look at some of the specs, you'll see that it actually has a built-in image stabilizer here. So if you're driving on like really bumpy roads, doing some off-roading, this can help to stabilize things. I've seen similar functionality in like an X-based dash cam. A lot of GoPros can do that. And it definitely helps to stabilize the footage, though the hood does kind of like float around a little bit as it's stabilizing and compensating for all the shake of the road. But if you're doing off-roading, that is going to be a solution here. This one's going to be, let's see, Starvis 2 here, front and rear, IMX 675. So 2K front and rear, that's pretty nice. There's the, right here, the X5. This one's been out, it's a little older model, 3-channel one. But this is like one of the newer ones that's launching here. And so with the Redtiger and the Wolfbox dash cams, I think the big thing for me is like, first off, the fake 4K stuff. Like that's kind of a pet peeve of mine. I get that everybody wants to make money, you want to sell your products and all that kind of stuff. You want to compete against everybody else, but like, don't do it by lying to people. Don't mislead your customers for the sake of making a buck. And there's definitely some of that going on here. They're popular dash cams, don't get me wrong, but like, I want to see the execution be on point. You know, parking recording has to be implemented well. You know, for rearview mirror stuff, like the rearview mirror has to work well day and night. I've heard a lot of complaints with these ones as far as the low light sensitivity and even things like in high heat. I know some people have reported sometimes the dash cams could actually fall apart. So like, just stuff that's more than just specs on paper, you know? Like we start with some of the basics and the specs and making sure they're good, but then you look at some of the execution. And I feel like they still need a little bit of work here. Customer service is great. Yes, they're popular dash cams, but I don't think they're quite there yet. And that's why I really haven't dedicated the time to doing like full tests and reviews of these models despite their popularity. But they're set up here and I just figured it was a good time to maybe share some of their models and talk a little bit about these two companies. So with that said, thanks for watching. Plenty more stuff to cover here at the show. There's a lot of different companies, and so make sure you're subscribed. I'm gonna keep doing more videos here, just kind of taking a look at all the different dash cams here at SEMA.